Welcome to Rock and Recovery. I'm your host, Jay. My special guest today is Danny Johnson. I don't know what he does, but he's about to tell us. So why don't you give it up for Danny and just let me introduce yourself.
Yeah, Jay, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate your time and having me on this platform. But I am a comedian, actor, and voiceover artist. That I do clean comedy, have been for decades. Have two comedy specials. One just came out a couple months ago, and the other one was 2019. And my goal in life is to make as many people laugh as possible. So I do not touch upon politics or stuff too sexual. I have a broad reach, and it's truly my passion, man. I love getting up there wherever they'll have me and making you, take an hour long show of mine and just forget about your problems and share laughs with all different kinds of people, races, and genders, and whoever you are, man. Just come out and enjoy a good laugh, and hopefully you leave in a better mood than you came with, to the show.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I think laughter is the best form of therapy anyway. So you could say you're a therapist.
Yeah, I could say that. I need therapy, and I'm a therapist because, laughter does biologically do something to you. The dopamine hit and the chemicals that flow through your body when you're in a good mood really does affect your health. So, and I've had many people after a show say, I've been feeling down, or my job, I just lost my job, whatever it is they're going through. And they're like, I just forgot about everything for the time you were up there. It was like going on a little mini vacation. It was great. So that's my goal.
So tell me about your little past. I know that I read your bio. You said you're an addict for a while, and I want to know how you overcame that. Well,
Hmm.
what brought you to overcoming that, and what made you become an addict.
Yeah, I quit drinking a couple years ago and never got into drugs or anything like that. But it's funny. I don't know. I guess you could call me an addict. So I started to really get good at it, and then I started to plan for it, and then I started to shift things around in my schedule for it. Um, and that coupled with the fact that my son was old enough to start going out, and
Mm.
it's just him and I in the house. And then I thought to myself, well, what if he called and he needed me, and I was 6 beers deep or whatever the number is, and I just couldn't go get him? How embarrassing would that be? So once I kind of realized this is probably on the way to taking over my life. And it doesn't align with my goals. I did an audit of how I'm spending my time. So, and the sheer fact of how much I enjoyed the drinking and the feeling and the camaraderie with friends, or even alone watching the game. Why am I drinking 6 beers watching a game? Plus, plus some, and then kind of going to bed early enough to make sure I'm not too hungover the next day. I'm like, I'm planning all around this substance, and probably not the healthiest thing. And I just decided to quit. So it's changed everything, my mental clarity, my health. I'm down 50 pounds, going to the gym, writing more, performing more, putting my focus where it should be,
More effort
And
into your trade.
yeah, yeah. And I even I took my girlfriend on vacation for her birthday, and we went up to the Carolinas, and she wanted to do a wine tasting, asked me if I was comfortable with that. I said sure, and I said I'll just give you, and I did take a sip of the wine, and literally a nip, and then she drank the rest of it. Like I had no yearning for it, no, obviously that's not going to be a regular thing, but I had no. I thought I would take a. I was initially, I was like, I'm going to take a sip and then be back. And some people are like that, right? Everyone's different. They have one sip and then it's downhill. So um, I'm not going to make a regular habit of that, of course. But yeah, I just found my life to be exponentially better as a result of being sober.
What became unmanageable about it? That was it starting to perform your work, your jokes,
Yeah.
just your personality?
Yeah, I think on several fronts. Like, it took away from me writing new material. I mean, I would wake up the next day and be like, I could have written for 2 hours rather than had all those drinks and watch a baseball game that doesn't matter. And then, secondly, I would never drink before I went on stage, but it became a reward when I was done on stage. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go have a few drinks, and I was like, what kind of reward is that, health wise? And then thirdly, my son kind of got on me about me constantly talking about getting in shape. And then he goes, imagine trying to get in shape and you talking about it all the time, yet you have a Bud Light in your hand. And I was like, oh, that hit the heart. When someone close to you like that says stuff like that, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, what am I doing? And, any goal in life that I have that has not been accomplished, if I did a time audit, how am I spending my time? And then even if I was drinking and writing, which was rare, how good was it? It wasn't. My mental clarity wasn't there, my sharpness, my wit. So and it seems to be more and more popular. I think liquor and beer sales are down overall in the industry, especially with this younger generation. I'm happy to say my son, although he's tasted alcohol, is a huge gym rat. So he's like, why would I ingest that if I'm trying to, hit this on bench press or whatever? And
Right.
So I even had him randomly drug tested for no reason, and he came up negative. So
Do you know why he randomly drug tested him? Just because, or
no? One of his friends was busted for weed. So
okay.
I was like, hey, let me take you someplace real quick. And I took him up to the clinic and got him drug tested. He's like, Dad, I'm like, he even admitted to trying smoking weed. Not within the time frame of the drug test, or maybe it was, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, you're probably going to test positive for weed. And he tested negative for everything. So I was like, even if you tried it, you're not doing it right, and you shouldn't. He's like, no, I hate
it. You're not doing it right. That's awesome.
Right.
How would you have felt if your parents did that to you, at one certain time? Because I'm sure, like my parents, we did a lot that our parents didn't quite know about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would feel betrayed. Like, not betrayed is the wrong word, probably, but like, you don't trust me. And I was straight with my son. I go, yeah, I'm single. I'm a single, I'm raising you on my own. His mom's in the picture here and there, but he doesn't see her quite often. I'm like, you are 100% of you is my responsibility. So yeah, you're being drug tested. So we've had, go ahead.
So you said you're coming out because it is starting to affect your work and everything else.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you use a program? Did you use an AA, or did you go to meetings, or did you just say, I'm done?
I said I'm done. And then I also made a social shift. So I don't hang out as much socially with those that I did drink with. And when I do, it's a Heineken Zero or a water. It's a non-alcoholic, and it's one. And because even that, the taste of it reminds me of beer, and I'm like, all right, it's water from here on out. And the birthday parties or the gatherings or whatever, just I minimize those, and I could spend my time elsewhere. I also leaned on some sober friends and family too. Just kind of talk with them, whether it was a moment of potential weakness or just to catch up. I found that my relationships have improved with people that, again, it's how am I using my time, right? So rather than the substance, it's or the alcohol, it's to pick up the phone and call somebody. And I know there's people in my life that, well, you don't call me enough. I know I can't get to everybody.
There's only so many hours in a damn day,
right?
And I'll tell you what, when you spend 1 or 2 on the phone, all of a sudden you get backed up, and it's like, oh
yeah. And then my sleep's improved too. I used to think I slept great because I was passed out probably from drinking, a couple nights a week. And then when I stopped, the first couple nights were difficult, but after that, I was like, wow, this is what refreshing feels like in the morning. Clear-headed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just being able to get that sleep. So how much comedy work do you actually do, like traveling or out on the road? And I had to post a comment from somebody. Most people have to hit rock bottom to change. And, I think rock bottom is different for everybody. And just that realization that I do not want to do this anymore is rock bottom enough.
Yeah. And I think the pain of what you're not achieving in life, what you want to achieve, has to be greater than your will to do the other thing. So, and I think having a kid helped. I don't know if I didn't have my son in my life, if I would have made that decision, because ultimately that was the big push. It was like, wow, if he needs me, I can't be there.
The realization
So
that somebody else counted on you.
yeah, if he wasn't in the picture, I don't know that I would have stopped. I don't know, maybe, but my yeah, it's not, and they're right. You know, a lot of people have to hit rock bottom, and that's a true addiction. Not that mine's not a true addiction, but maybe mine's not a chemical addiction; it's a social one. Who knows? But my rock bottom was realizing I can't keep complaining about not achieving these goals that I want to achieve in life, and then whooping it up with a bunch of drinks, a good portion of the week. It doesn't make sense. Um, and that's what those two things, that and my son, were the triggers to just stop.
So like I going back to what the question before that was, what do you do now? I
Oh
know
yeah.
because you probably work clubs, you probably
Yep.
work, and there's a lot of alcohol around there. How do you manage that? Or do you
Yeah,
just not?
absolutely. So I immediately let the bartender and club manager know I don't drink. So if somebody sends me a drink on stage, because that'll happen from time to time, whether it's a shot or a drink, just politely tell him he doesn't drink. If they do, if it does somehow get up on stage, I don't drink it. I just say, hey, I appreciate it. I just give it back to the table. Anybody want this? It's on them, and that gets a laugh or whatever. I don't drink, so I'll cheers with them with my water up on stage.
They make this the shot the pine float, which is just a shot of water.
I used to do that, like when I was drinking, but not on stage. If someone, I
Okay.
told the bartender, like, hey, send me a water or send me a whatever, just make up something without alcohol, because I don't want to drink on stage. And now I don't do it at all. So, and I'm very comfortable, and it seems to be more and more acceptable too, you know, to be sober. It's a lot more common because I'll still get offered drinks. Not everybody knows, even at a private venue for a private party at a lot of these neighborhoods, these master plan communities, they have like an event center, and they hire me as a comedian and live music, all this other stuff. And they'll go, hey, you want to drink before the show? And I'm like, no, I don't drink. And it's totally fine.
So what's some of the biggest venues you've played?
I've done a
performed
couple
at,
thousand
sorry.
seaters, but mostly opening for bigger names. So I toured with Howie Mandel last year a little bit.
That had to be interesting.
Oh, that was great. That was so much fun. I mean, a couple thousand people a night for the week, and it was all in Florida. That's where I live. So I was driving around to the gigs, and he was flying in his private jet to the gigs.
I also live in Florida.
Do you? Where are you at?
Just about 45 minutes north of Tampa.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in
right on
Jacksonville.
75.
I'm right south of Jacksonville.
St. Augustine?
North of St. Augustine in Ponte Vedra.
Oh, okay. So right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom
I went
lives
to you
in Jackson. I mean, in St. Augustine.
Yeah. I'm right. I mean, I'm literally 35 minutes from St. Augustine.
Nice.
And I went to school in Tampa, USF. That's where I finished my college. And so I love the Tampa area. I'm actually doing Wesley Chapel in August at Side Splitters on a Sunday night. So if you're close enough, we'll get you out there.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I try to tour as much as possible. Whatever venue will have me. Like I said, my goal is to bring laughs. So if they have a budget, even if they don't have a budget, I'll do a ticket deal. The more tickets I sell, the more money we both make, the venue and myself, and or if they have a flat fee, whatever it is, but I'll go anywhere. I think in my career, I've done 37 or 38 states thus far.
Wow.
Yeah, I did New Mexico last year. My agent's working on Alaska this year. I've never done Alaska. So yeah, I love it. I can't wait. And it's funny, the people around me in my life can tell when I haven't been on stage in a bit, and I get a little edgy. I'm itching to get this stuff out of my head that I've been writing. And they go, you need to get a show. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm trying every day to get more shows.
So tell me about your mental health advocacy, because I know in your call to action it says you're a mental health advocate. Tell me how that's what does that entail?
Yeah, dealing social anxiety and depression is I hate to say it's common in entertainers, probably common with a lot of people, but doing comedy is very therapeutic. For me, it's the audience is my counselor pretty much. It helps me, the writing part of it and the performing part of it helps me out a lot. And it was very interesting to me in the last 6 months, having to deal with this particular issue. Like in the past, I think my depression and social anxiety would, put me in a dark place. And in the past, I've been able to sometimes talk myself out of it, um, in a certain way verbally. But as of late, the darkness was it was not working. The verbal talking me out of this, obviously I'm seeing a therapist, and I'm on certain meds or whatever to help, but the talking me out of it it stopped working. The darkness was so heavy that I learned that I had to act physically. So, and this may sound silly, but it's as simple as taking a shower, getting in the sun, interacting with a neighbor, walking, get up and out. And when I didn't feel like doing a show as a result of this, feeling, forcing myself to do the show and constantly telling myself it's not about me, focus on making them laugh. This is for them. So focusing your energy outward to improve other people's lives, albeit temporarily during my show, was extremely therapeutic and very helpful, to get me through those brief periods. But that this past 6 months was the first time I'd ever dealt with. I keep calling it the darkness. I don't know what else to call it. The depression was so bad that I had to do something physically to get out of it. To improve the situation or the thought process. Like, these thoughts aren't real. These thoughts that I'm having are not real. It's because you can't control what you think of. We all
Right.
think the craziest things all the time. So you have to tell yourself that's not you. You are not thinking that, and get up and move. Go get the mail, get your face in the sun, take a shower, make your bed. All this little tiny accomplishments start making you feel like, oh, I'm progressing in the day. I'm good. Things are better. And you start to feel as a result of the action. So it was a little scary to realize that I had to act to change it, for that brief period of time, instead of just mentally getting over it. And especially as a man too, it's debilitating. And to even talk about it, some people are like, well, it's demasculating and emasculating, and men shouldn't talk about that stuff. And I'm like, I think they should.
I think they should also,
You
because
can't
men's
bottle,
mental
like,
health is a big issue also.
yeah, I mean, in previous generations, men in my family just repressed it and shoved it down, and blew up,
Absolutely.
because you left a screwdriver
Man
out in the
up, or
garage.
you got nothing to worry about. Be a man, man up. All this, you know.
Yeah. Have you thought about turning that frown upside down?
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's been a journey, and I just try to tell myself that you're learning and you're growing, and the world's a better place because you're here. And stop focusing on you, Danny. Focus on making people laugh. And hopefully when I get to heaven one day, I'm told, thanks for making them laugh. And
There's this study out that says it takes 7 seconds for your brain to change thought.
mm,
So if you're thinking in the real negative, and if you repeat the same phrase over and over for 7 seconds,
right.
it'll take you out of that dark place or whatever that anxiety that you need to get through, because it changes your focus. It changes your focus.
Yeah, that's great. I do the count backwards from 5 and take action. So, it's a 5, 4, 3, 2. And I think it's important to be passionate about something. And I think that's what I love about people. Like, I tell people all the time, like, if you're passionate about something and you're in a dark place, go to that. So if I'm excited
Go
about a
do
new
that.
joke, yeah, I'm excited about a new joke, I'll run to my notebook and be like, how can I make this joke work? If I meet somebody on the street and they're passionate about butterflies, and their face lights up and their eyes get big, I don't care about butterflies, but I love listening to you because you're so passionate. I want to learn more. I want to talk to me more, get excited. Like, I
Right.
don't care, knitting, painting, running, whatever you're passionate about, dive into that. And I've done shows at AA meetings, and they talk about that a little bit. So I guess you can say I did attend a meeting, but not maybe not as as a
As a
participant.
guest, you know. Yeah.
Right, right. And here's one joke about addiction that they really love, right? So I used to sell CDs years ago after my show, and at an AA meeting, I sold out of my CDs. It was a great show, and they bought all of them. And at the end of the show, I'm talking to like the whole group again, just up there kind of talking. And I'm like, "You guys bought all my CDs?" And I said, "Well, I guess if you guys like something, you really dive in."
Yeah, you go all in on.
Right, right. I was like, I should have brought more merch, t-shirts, bumper stickers. But they got a great kick out of that, and they were very thankful to have have me there. It was funny when I went to the restroom before the show, I found a couple of little mini bottles empty in the trash. I'm like, someone's still struggling. I didn't mention it on stage or anything, but it kind of enlightened me about the power of addiction.
So I was a drug addict, and you know, my favorite drug addict joke was, you know, hopefully you're not Mormon, are you?
No,
Okay, so good. I don't want to offend anybody.
no, you're
or
fine.
get
I don't.
canceled. So what's the difference between, or what does a Mormon and a tweaker have in common?
What?
Bicycle, a backpack, and a mission. You know,
That's good,
so
man. I like that.
it is a good one because it's so true. I was the dude with I didn't have a bicycle, but I had a backpack and a mission for sure.
Yeah. And I think, it's funny. I see a lot of the bicycle backpack folks in some areas of the country where I travel. And I don't, when people talk about the homeless issue and they're like, why don't they just house them and give them a job? I'm like, it's more than that, man. It's substance abuse counseling. It's addiction. It's mental health. I mean,
It's a mental health issue.
you put an addict in an apartment and set him up for 2 months and a job.
He's going to be gone.
Gone. Everything in that apartment will be in the pawn shop.
Yep.
And so you're kind of band-aiding it if you do that. Just build affordable housing. Well, that's not
It's masking. It's masking. You're not going to the root of the problem. Why is an addict an addict?
right. What are they trying to fill? What void are they trying to fill?
What are they trying to cope with?
Mhm.
Because addiction is a side effect of whatever you're coping through.
Right. Right.
You know, whatever trauma or trying to fit in or whatever it may be, addiction is a side effect of the way you used to cope. You didn't start out wanting to be an addict.
Right.
I
And I
mean,
think
nobody does. You know, it's
yeah,
like, oh
and
yeah, one day I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna be an addict. Yeah, let's
yeah.
go do that.
Yeah, and I
Oh
think
shit.
in a way I'm surprised I started drinking because even at an early age I realized I had an addictive personality. If I got a pizza, I didn't have 2 slices, I had 5. If anything I liked, I overconsumed, which was part of my weight problem. So it was food, if it was anything pleasurable, I took it to the extreme. And I think that's what scared me from trying coke or any other drug. Not only because it wasn't prevalent in my neighborhood in where I grew up in New York, but in Long Island, but it scared the heck out of me because I knew even as a teenager, I'm like, if I love something, I love it. So I stayed away from it, luckily. But then again, I'm surprised I started drinking at such an early age too.
So maybe that instant gratification or the addiction of more.
Mm, yeah, yeah. So I wonder, and that I'm sure that led to my weight. I mean, I've been up and down with my weight my entire life. This is,
Same.
yeah. I mean, and this is the longest stretch, 2 years now that I've been a good weight, and continuing to decrease. So I'm just going to continue that pattern.
So we're back to some of your comedy. How does somebody watch you or look you up, or where do you get tickets, or just to know your schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest place probably is my website, which is just my name, DannyJohnson.com. It has all my social media links. It has both of my comedy specials on there. The first comedy special was 2019. It was done by a production company called Dry Bar, and they produce clean comedy specials out of Utah. Speaking of Mormons, they're not Mormon, but
Okay.
but the success of that special led to it being licensed on Amazon, Apple, and Peacock as well. But you can watch clips of it on my site. And then my second special just released on YouTube a couple months ago. Already hit 184,000 views, so I'm pretty happy
Wow.
about that. And that name of that special is Everything Bothers Me. And I talk about my social awkwardness, me seeing a therapist. It's really probably the most personal comedy special I've done. It's silly, it's funny, it's silly. I think it's smart, smartly written or well written, I think. And people seem to really enjoy it because they can watch it with anybody. Their kids can be in the. It's not geared towards kids, but you can just watch it whenever without having to worry about any vulgarities or sexual stuff or even politics. But my website's DannyJohnson.com, and then on there's all my social links too. All my social links are the same. It's Danny Johnson Comedy. I think I just followed you on Instagram and TikTok today. And yeah, I think I put out good content. It's clean. I just want to make you laugh. I'm not trying to poke the bear or offend anybody. Although you might get offended because I don't shy away from topics. I do poke fun at different people and groups and myself mostly.
If somebody
but
can't take a joke, then they need to lighten up anyway.
it's really, it's really all this traveling and different shows I've done all over the place. Like you would be amazed at the slightest thing that offends people, and it's never the whole crowd, which is great. It's just a bunch of.
You're
Like,
always
why
going to
did you
find that
come?
one.
Yeah, why did you come to a live performance? If they knew the meaning of different songs of their favorite artists, they're bound to be offended if they knew the meaning behind a song of any band, for whatever reason. There's so much more. And my comedy is just designed to make you laugh. So silly facial expressions. I'm not goofy. I'm not cheesy. I think I know someone described my comedy as clean with an edge. So there's a bit of anger, frustration in there. But yeah, I love doing it, and I would love to. If you're north of Tampa, man, that'd be great if we connect down the road, get you out to a show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
We'll have a nice
One,
Coke
how do
Zero
you,
together.
yes, I drink Coca-Cola. So yeah, at least it's still in the same brand.
Right, got to get that caffeine, right?
So how do you deal with that heckler having that social anxiety already, thinking that it's like, everything bad? How do you deal with those disturbing people?
Well, luckily for me, it rarely happens. But at this point in my career, I'm really prepared to handle it. A lot of my quote unquote hecklers are just people that have had too much to drink and they just are repeating what I said from the previous joke or kind of agreeing with me. Oh, yeah, that. And I hate all of it. I hate heckling and I hate that. For them, those type of people, I assume positive intent. They want to participate in the show. They're having a good time. So I'm pretty gentle with them. But for those that are just talking and disruptive, I am very comfortable just bringing the show to a screeching halt. And if they want the attention for 10 seconds, they're going to get it. And they're going to dig themselves a hole because they're not funny.
I think a lot of it stems from the audience interaction. Comedians like I won't mention any big names, but we all know who they are. But that just interact with the audience, and because they're so mainstream right now that they think all the comedians are like that.
Yeah, and they're doing that because they don't want to burn through material. They say so they don't want to put it out on the internet, and then they can't do it down the road on a comedy special of any kind. And they're good at it, and I think I'm good at it. But I just prefer to just write more jokes. I'd rather publish jokes and then write more to entertain you. And that's fine that they do that, and there's a place for it. And there's even sometimes in my act where I'll ask the audience a question, but it's always leading to a joke I want to do, and it's never to offend them or make fun of them. It's a compliment to the show. So if they continue to talk, I go, you have no more lines. You have no more lines in this show. You have no more. You're done. And my favorite thing to do, though, if there's truly someone arrogant enough to talk throughout my whole show, even if it's not at me, it's just at the table, they're not paying attention, I'll stop the show, address it, and I'll say something to the effect of, "Ma'am, would you be surprised to find out that tonight is not about you?"
Oh, the most polite compliments ever.
Yeah. So obviously their ego deflates because I'm telling them how self-centered they are.
Yeah.
And they usually stop at that point. But
like didn't you pay to watch me, not you?
Yeah. And I understand they paid to see a comedy show, maybe not necessarily me specifically, but it's rude. The people around you are not enjoying the show. There's a lobby. Go sit there and talk. And usually it's all alcohol related. And that's another thing that kind of helped me quit was just seeing and especially now that I'm sober, just seeing friends that are incoherent and I'm talking to them and they're not so much friends, more acquaintances. Like I'm like, you are not going to remember any of this. So why am I? And then I'm like, holy crap, was I like that with some people? And I started to blush. I'm like, how embarrassing. So, yeah, that's kind of how I deal with hecklers. They're not really an issue.
That's a good thing because I know a lot of people that with social anxiety or anxiety in any forms,
Mhm.
just that person, making them feel not enough or not worthy enough
Yeah.
is gonna do some damage,
Well, I think
especially in a
because
live show.
yeah, that's a great point. But I think because I'm prepared with the show, so I know what I'm going to say anyway, for the most part. Um, that gives me the confidence that kind of takes over my social anxiety, right? So if it was something in a different setting, it might be different, but because I have the whole thing prepared, I'm fine up there. I'm most
S-
comfortable up on stage, believe it or not.
Okay. So is every night, every venue like a new venue for you? And how do you deal with that newness? Because I know
Uh-huh.
sometimes that's a big anxiety thing right
Yeah.
there. That is that going someplace new.
Yeah, I get a lot of repeat business, so the same venues and bookers or whatnot, and I'm comfortable. But I'm an early bird, so I'll get to the venue early. If it's a place that's giving me a hotel, I'll check in there. If not, I'll go to the venue early, grab a small bite to eat, and I'll check out the room. I'll do a sound check, light check, and then for me to feel a little bit more comfortable, while the opening acts are up on stage, I will creep on the side of the venue, or even if I'm backstage, if the green room's back there, I'll poke my head out and stare the audience without them seeing me. So I'm in the shadows or I'm behind the curtain, and I'll put myself in front of the audience in my head. So in my head, I can then say, "Oh, I've already been out there. They've already seen me. They haven't." But mentally, I go, "I've
You
already
change that
broken.
mental
Yeah,
focus.
I've
Yeah.
already broken the ice for me. I've already been out there, so I'm just going out there again." In my head, and that helps a lot. The second thing that helps a lot with any venue, new or old, is I know what my first joke is. I know what I'm going to say in the first 5 sentences. So, and I know it's pretty much going to get a laugh. Um, that's tremendous because preparation often leads to confidence, right? So the more prepared you are, the more confident you are. Same with an audition, same with the comedy, acting, anything. So those two things together kind of help me get over that
Have you
social
ever had one of
awkwardness
those audiences that was so tough, so hard
for sure.
that you only had like one or two people laughing?
Yeah.
And how did that affect you?
My gosh. Mostly early in my career, because I would do more rough venues. I would do any venue early in my career. I can be pretty selective at this point. So I try to pick folks either hiring me specifically or they have comedy there all the time. So they know what to expect. But yeah, your total flop sweat. I can start it starts with that drip of sweat down the neck, down the middle of your back, and I'm like, this is so awful. And then you're looking at your watch. I still have this much time to do. You start going through your Rolodex of jokes. You're like, why is none of this? I hate these people. Why is no one getting it? And you have to plow through it. And I think it makes you stronger. You have to make it make you stronger. That's probably a better way to say it because that's when a lot of people quit. Um, the amount of people that try stand up and stop in the first year is very large. So you have to, what can I do better? Because it's funny, you'll do the same set of jokes the next night and it'll kill. It'll do great. And that's what keeps bringing you back. So I self-examine, over-examine, overthink. What did I do wrong? Did I say it wrong? Was I not passionate? Was I not authentic? Did they not want a comedy show? One of the worst bombs was situational. They bring me into this venue. I thought it was I think it was a family reunion.
Oh no.
And not only were they chatty, right before I go on, they project the face of a relative who passed recently.
Oh.
And they start talking about him, and people are crying. And they get done with that 10-minute little speech, couple people talked or whatever, and then the I don't know, somebody in the family gets up and goes, "Okay, folks, now for the comedy." And I was
Like, what the heck? Why?
right. I was like, I'm gonna do my. So it took me like 10. I think I was doing a 30-minute set. It took me 10 minutes to get them to stop
Oh,
crying, and then they enjoyed the last 20. But that was rough. And I
yeah.
go, I didn't do enough research. I didn't know that what they were doing. So now I'm pretty detailed. What's the agenda? What's the situation? Who's the, what's the demographic? What's the occasion? So on and so forth. So I'm pretty picky. But yeah, that's people that produce comedy shows or hire a comedian. I just assume they know nothing about the live performance, and I kind of hold their hand a little bit, or my agent I'll instruct them to really get the details out there.
And would have any of this been possible while you're still drinking, do you think?
I don't think I'd be the comedian I am today, by far, especially the opportunities that I've gotten, like I said, with Howie Mandel and with other big names that I've got to open for, and other venues, other corporations that have hired me for their quarterly meetings, something to bring levity to the situation. I think I certainly would have blown through more money to keep the good times rolling if I was still drinking. But I think material wise, I would have probably never put out this special a couple months ago because I wouldn't have had the jokes, or I would have had the jokes but not worked on them for a year. Touring, working on refining those. So I don't think my special would have been as good. But for sure, I would not be in the place I am today if I was still drinking. I think.
One last final question. If you can get if anybody's listening, what do you want them to take off this conversation?
I think it's important to, and this is easier said than done, and you would know more than me, I think, when we talked about what, your addiction struggles versus mine, because I think the person alluded to it before, a lot of times people hit rock bottom and are addicted to much more powerful things than alcohol. But if you can find a way to think more of yourself than your brain is telling you you're worth, then take a step and get that help, regardless of what people think. Imagine you're the CEO of you. You're the CEO of you. And how do you want to run your business? How do you want your life to look 1 day from now, 30 days from now, 6 months from now, 5 years from now? And what cross-reference that with how you're spending your time. And if it's a chemical dependency, you need medical help, mental health and medical help. So seek that wherever it is. And then finally find someone you trust that is leading a life you want to lead or similar, and be humble enough to reach out and vulnerable enough, especially for the men out there, to reach out and say, I need help. And if you get rejected, then fine, find somebody else. You have to say, screw everyone. My focus is me and my physical and mental health, and I'm not hitting the goals I want to hit. And how am I utilizing my time, and what help do I need, and how do I get it? And that should be your total focus. Turn that obsession into a positive, if that makes any sense.
It does absolutely 100% sense. And how do we find you again?
DannyJohnson.com is the website, and then all my links are on there for my specials and for my social media. And if they want to go right to my social media, it's all Danny Johnson Comedy on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Well, and that's our show for today. So I'm Jay, your host. That's Danny Johnson, the comedian. Check him out and keep rocking your recovery. Until next time.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. I do want to thank you real quick while we're on here. Thank you for taking time out of your day and coming on here. Just your story. It's going to help. It's going to connect somebody, and that's all
I hope so.
That's all we're here for.
I hope so.
I appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, I hope so. Especially with those that are maybe they wouldn't consider themselves an addict, but they're using substances or alcohol to a point that's affecting. They're not hitting their goals, right? And I love what you're doing. I love your platform, and keep doing what you're doing. Love your story and your successes, and I wish you all the best. So thanks, Jay.
Same to you. And hopefully we get down to Wesley Chapel. I'm going to check you out.
Absolutely. Side Splitters, Wesley Chapel in August. I'll email you or text you when it comes up.
Sounds good. Until then, keep rocking your recovery and stay funny.